But one of the ways that young men should protect themselves is by being ambitious towards the right things. They're busy and active and intentional and driven towards the right things. Yeah. And so a young woman the kind of young man she should be interested in and wanting to attract is the young man that's already hitting it in all these areas.
He's pursuing holiness. Yes. He is guarded in his speech, guarded in his eyes. He has, because he's ruling himself.
Yes. Yes. So we are at church. We are right in the middle of our Reformed singles mixer. So we've got people literally from all over the country, nearly 100 young people, I think.
Yeah, they're all in our adjacent
building. They're doing speed dating right now. So we started this last year. We did our first Reformed singles mixer, and it was really great. We've had a marriage from that and 3 engagements.
An engagement that happened today.
Today, yeah, so far. So
not from this mixer, but from they met at the last one, and he asked today, and she said yes. So potentially cool. 4 marriages from our last mixer, which is very encouraging. Yeah,
that's what we want. So Reformed churches tend to be small and kind of isolated. Yeah. And so Reformed people are having trouble finding spouses. And when we realized this was a problem, we just said we need to have
let's do a mixer.
Just do a mixer.
I've been contacted privately by 8 or 9 different pastors that are trying to do this in their area.
100%.
California, Georgia, Florida, just different places.
Yep. I talked to one in North Carolina that's wanting to do something because he realized all his people need spouses.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's how we win. That's what Charlie Kirk said.
Yes.
Get married, have lots
babies.
Have lots of babies.
Yes.
And we'll outproduce them.
Outbreed them.
Because they're having gay sex and not
non-productive.
Yeah, they're aborting their children.
Yep.
So this is how we win.
One of the ways we win, yes. So with that being the case, we wanted to do the topic today. The snake is what kind of man should a young woman want to marry?
Yeah.
And so
kind of hit this last year a little bit. Not but from the flip side is like, what kind of man should you be?
Sure.
And then what kind of woman should you be? But this is what kind of man should a woman be looking for?
Yeah. So maybe a way to ask the question would be, what kind of man does a woman want or should want to attract?
Yeah.
How can she attract that kind of man? And then also, like, how does she discern those things about a man? Because it's one thing to say this is what a man should be when we're speaking to the men, but how does the woman discern whether he is that?
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's challenging. Well, we've identified in prior episodes, and we just hit it again, and you just talked about it. I thought he did a challenge about what godly ambition is. Godly ambition, masculine godly ambition, and feminine godly ambition. And those are two different things, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so my talk was basically a few...
Keep talking. I'm going to go shut these doors.
Okay, you do it. But my talk was basically just hitting a few things. One is the fact that we really only use ambition in the negative sense anymore. Somebody is ambitious. There is a negative side to that, obviously, but the reality is that we are commanded, we are called by God and by Scripture specifically to be ambitious people.
Yep.
We're called to strive after excellence.
Yeah.
So I think the definition that I gave was wholehearted pursuit of excellence to the glory of God, by faith in Christ. And so in all that we're made to do. So that was the other thing. The other side of ambition is recognizing that masculine ambition and feminine ambition look different.
Yeah.
So a young lady that's wanting to know what to look for in a man, she should be looking for a man that is ambitious in all the ways that God made him to be ambitious.
Right.
That he is ambitious about being a ruler and a provider and a protector.
Yeah, those are the 3 things that you identified.
These 3 things are what men were made for: to rule, to provide, and protect.
Yeah.
And so within that, he should be ambitiously pursuing those things.
Yeah.
And one thing that I didn't hit that wasn't in my notes, I actually was thinking about it while I was up there, that I should have hit, was just the fact that one of the things we're always thinking through is, young men specifically, and sexual temptation Pornography use is rampant in the modern day because it's so accessible and the temptation abounds. But one of the ways that young men should protect themselves is by being ambitious towards the right things. They're busy and active and intentional and driven towards the right things. Yeah. And so a young woman the kind of young man she should be interested in and wanting to attract is the young man that's already hitting it in all these areas.
He's pursuing holiness. Yes. He is guarded in his speech, guarded in his eyes. He has, because he's ruling himself.
Yes.
You didn't say it, and I really thought you might talk about weight, because a godly man should be, if he's ruling well and he's ambitiously pursuing rule, he should be ruling himself and ruling what goes in his mouth and those kind of things. That doesn't mean that.
Well, I started to hit on that both for men and women. And I just decided to leave that alone.
You're a coward. That's a snake.
Well,
it's a snake. We get in trouble every time we talk about it.
I went over time as it was, so I was.
You did.
That's my excuse.
But it is an important aspect. So you identified rule, provision, protection.
Yeah, and those seem simple, but really, when you think about it, that's everything.
Yeah.
So how a man rules, how does he rule himself? How does he govern himself? How does he rule all the things that he's been given to do within his workplace and in his community and in his home? How is he ruling himself and anything that he's been given? How's he doing that? And is he ambitious to rule more?
Yeah.
This is where we have tended to think of ambition as negative. A young man wanting to rule, a young man wanting to have position, a young man wanting to be involved in whether it's civil government or church or whatever these things are. The scriptures say that when someone desires the office of an elder, they desire a good thing.
Yeah.
And so these kind of desires should be cultivated in young men. They should be striving after excellence.
Our culture uses the word ambitious as he's just ambitious.
Yeah.
They use it as a pejorative.
Exactly.
Negative. But you identified that the only negative ambition is that which you're willing to sin to get it.
Yeah. So that shows you when your heart's in the wrong place. If you're willing specifically to break the law or to sin in order to get whatever this thing is that you're ambitious towards, then that's a good sign that your ambition is not a godly ambition.
So a godly ambition for, let's say, provision is if he's pursuing education or pursuing different things, mentorships or whatever, and he's asking people because he has a vision in mind for where he wants to be as a provider.
Sure.
And so he's willing to take that long journey.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of overlap, but within ruling, like, is he pursuing being educated and being well read and like understanding?
Can he tell himself no? Does he discipline himself to read? Is he in the Word?
Yep.
Obviously we're talking in a context of Reformed folks here. Those that are coming, they love the Lord, they're pursuing the Lord, they're members of churches, so they've been vetted by their local communities to say, yeah, your citizenship papers are legit, you're clearly a believer in Christ. So we're not discounting that, but a young lady should be looking for someone who is a masculine man who is ambitious.
He is driven.
Yeah.
He takes the initiative.
Yeah.
That's the kind of man that you want. And one of the things that I didn't talk about, but men tend to struggle with certain things, and one of the things women struggle with, and since this is for women specifically as far as what to look for in a man, women tend to look at a man and want the maturity of someone that's been married for 10 years and has 5 kids.
Yeah.
That's what they want. And you have to be able to look at potential. You have to be able to look for someone that is taking initiative, someone that's driven, someone that's pursuing excellence and is ambitious. And you can't look for someone that is, the man he's going to be 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
So
this is why they don't want a schlub, somebody who's doing nothing, who has no ambition.
Yep.
Just pass over that guy. But you can have a 18, 19, 20-year-old guy who doesn't have it all figured out. He's not making as much money as he'll ever make, but he's got plans and he's driven, and that guy you want to take note of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of times our natural instincts are actually right.
Yeah.
So when you look at a young man and he's not well groomed, he looks like his hair's greasy and he hadn't showered in 3 days, and he's kind of dressed like a slob, and he threw on a T-shirt that looks like it was at the bottom of his drawer for 2 years. Those things actually point to something. Mm-hmm. And so that's a young man that's not intentional. That's a young man that's not driven.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we have that natural instinct, and those are often right.
Yep.
So, and it's the same for young ladies as far as the other way around. But anyway.
So you're not looking for. I mean, we talk about this. I think attraction is a big deal, but I think a woman can be attracted to a man and he be missing all of the actual qualities she should be looking for.
Sure.
And we've said this many times before, but an unattractive man who has ambition or has drive and is confident, he just he will get the girl.
100%.
He'll get the girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
That absolutely. So young men tend to look for, they obviously look for beauty. They look for femininity. They look for softness, tenderness. Young ladies are attracted to the guys that are getting it done, the guys that are accomplishing great things, or wanting to, trying to, striving after. Yeah. That's what they want to follow and be part of.
So you're not saying that this person needs to have the 35-year-old job or the income or any of those kind of things. You're looking in kernel form at these things. Obviously, if they're older, it's like we have guys here today that we have one that's 39 years old.
Yeah.
Well, that's a man that I would expect has his own home, has a 401k, he's got money, he's established in his career. So those are pretty obvious things that you could look at and say, this guy's hitting it. He's upstanding in his church. He's doing all that he can do, and the Lord has not blessed him with a wife. So, hopefully someone who's in the same age zone as him can evaluate that and go, this.
It's pretty rare that you're going to find an 18-year-old that has any of those things.
Yeah.
But does he have a plan? Is he driven? Is it, if he's working in an industry, is he, trying to improve himself in that? Is he looking at how he could start his own business? Is he thinking about, okay, I'm going to college on the side because if I get this degree, I can make 30% more in my industry. Is he doing those things, or is it like he just clocks in and clocks out, and he's barely making it, and is not driven to be ambitious and accomplish more? That's not the kind of young man.
So if this young man was in our church, we would be challenging him to get some ambition.
Yeah.
And to have a plan and to hit it.
Yep.
And especially when he realizes none of these ladies really like me, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
They don't like me. I think that's important. So ruling, provision, protection. Does he have a protective instinct? Does he care about what's happening? Is he situationally aware? So not just physically, but spiritually.
Yep.
Does he have a theological head on his shoulder? Does he recognize false theology? Those kind of things should be really important for a young man.
He should at least be digging those things out, striving after
He should care about those kind of things.
Yeah. I would hate to be judged based on my theological understanding at 19 or 20.
Sure.
Like I was a goober. I was a goober. I was a mess. Yeah. So I didn't have it put together. But you know what? At 19, I read Calvin's Institutes. I read Augustine's City of God. I didn't know, but I wanted to. Yeah. I was driven to know these things. I knew I was deficient.
Yeah.
I tell this to a lot of young men. Obviously, it's not a thing anymore with iPhones and whatnot. But I was young. I used to. I had a hand-sized dictionary that I kept in my truck because I wasn't a good speller. And so if I'm writing something either for a customer or a text message or anything, I would literally look up the word. I had the old, phones, and it didn't have spell check. And so I would
grab that dictionary.
I'd grab that dictionary and make sure I was spelling things right, because I wanted to not only know it, but I wanted to be professional.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just be like, well, whatever. And so that's what you're looking for. It's like I didn't have it put together, but I was driven to try to find it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, I think here at this mixer, we've got a lot of guys that I've discerned, a lot that I've talked to that I think are some high quality.
Yeah, just watching them, there's some high quality dudes here.
Yeah. So I'm excited for what
100%.
will happen out of this, and hopefully, if they're good quality guys, our ladies will attract them, and then they'll come here to Ref Church, and they won't leave Ref Church. And if they're Presbyterians, they'll marry Presbyterians. And if they're Presbyterian girls, our Baptist boys will marry them, and we'll win the world. It's Baptist win.
Yep, it's called colonization.
And this is we're going to colonize our Presbyterians.
It is
brothers.
one strategy.
All right. Anything else to say about this?
No, I think
it's pretty clear.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I think so too. Cool. Thanks for tuning in.
God bless.